Good morning, everybody. So glad that everybody's here. We got 60 people already before we even start. I'm super excited about this training from Orlando. I'm doing this. So if the internet's spotty, we have Gigi, our backup moderator, ready to go like yesterday when the internet dropped. But without too much further ado, it's incredible. Before I recorded this, I told everybody it was like 10 o'clock at night, and I just told myself, hey, Marcel, you're talking tomorrow early, and she's like, all right, I guess, all right, I'm ready to go. Myself, ready to go. Our partner with Fort Lauderdale. A funny story, guys. I'll tell you. I'm gonna say the story, Marcel. All right. So
fine. It's part of holding your composure and being confident in luxury real estate. But go ahead.
So way before, early on in lifestyle, I knew Marcel. It was always like I always looked at Marcel, and I always looked at myself like, oh my God, this luxury agent. I had the, and I'm gonna say maybe she could tell me if I'm right or wrong. But I always had like getting, oh my God, she's unapproachable. She's super mean. I looked at her business card. She was all serious. And like, I was like, oh my God, I was like intimidated to reach out to Marcel. And then I was looking for condos in Brickell. And when I called her, she's like, what? No, I'm just kidding. She didn't.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
It wasn't me. But I was super intimidated just because I was a residential agent. And like, I was like, oh my God, like that's luxury, early on. And I don't even think I was a broker at that time. And I was just intimidated. So, there's a stigma of like luxury and residential. And there's probably some truth to that, or they like probably look at residential different and commercial looking at residential different. But I couldn't be further from the truth. Fast forward, 6, 7, 8 years. Super honored to call her a great friend of mine. She's a partner of ours. She's a leader. She runs our Fort Lauderdale branch. She supports everywhere. Now one of the best friends that I have. We talk almost every single day. And I'm so proud of how much she's grown. So proud to have her part of the family. And Marcel, thank you so much. Tell us, a little bit about yourself. Welcome.
So thank you for having me on here. It's been a journey entering my real estate career, and lifestyle's really just taken me to the next level to be able to be a partner and to, take my luxury real estate to the next level. But even with that story, when we first met, I wasn't fully luxury. I didn't start there. I kind of worked my way up there. I just maybe looked the part, right? And that's part of it. That's part of feeling like you are, of looking the part, of always being put together, of being knowledgeable, and always being prepared. So a little background on me. I actually started an events company when I was 20 years old, and I did that for about 8 years. And through that company, I made a lot of contacts. They're business owners, luxury corporate parties in luxury homes, conventions, etc. So I made a lot of contacts through that. And when I was ready to move on to my next business, which was real estate, I thought, well, if I know all of these people and I have all these contacts, then I'm going to do great in real estate, and they're going to be the ones to give me a chance. And I was wrong for my first year, because in the beginning they thought of me as the events person, not the real estate person. We're talking a lot of money, especially with the luxury real estate. And I remember in my first year, one of my really close friends that I would throw all their events at their house. They had a house in Palm Island, and they were going to sell it. And I thought, this is my first big break. It's my first year. I'm going to get this listing for sure. And I didn't get the listing. And my friend explained to me that, one, he didn't feel that I was knowledgeable enough because I was just starting. And two, that I wouldn't have the marketing budget that they're probably looking for the exposure of this listing. So not to discourage new agents from not getting those chances right away, but it made sense. So I knew that I had to prove myself, stay consistent, stay top of mind. And I did that a lot by starting from, rentals and starting with regular sales first, kind of bringing the money on this side. So then I did have more of a marketing budget, and I did have more of knowledge of how the transaction works from A to Z. Right. And the way that I was able to stay relevant and top of mind was really using social media. Every single day they saw me, my friends and contacts saw me either at a training or at a showing or at a new construction or in the office. They saw me putting in the work every single day. So I think that social media is a really great tool for you to portray the image that you want to. And in the beginning, you may not have listings and all of that. So I'll get into how to do that in social media. But just know that I think it's really important from the beginning to be knowledgeable and to stay consistent and to know your transactions from A to Z. That way you feel comfortable, and that way you feel confident when you are having these conversations, you know, and we're talking about now millions of dollars, right? So the second thing that is extremely important is building your brand, and marketing goes hand in hand, putting money back into your business. When I do get a listing, I'm definitely spending some money on it. I'm doing the professional pictures, I'm doing the drones, I'm doing videos, I'm doing brokers open house, the whole works, because one, it's going to build my personal brand. And two, I'm going to show that I go all out, right? If they're offering me 6-figure commissions, then I better be showing up and going all out for them. So also, your personal brand can be the way that you speak, the way that you look, the way that you dress, the car that you drive. It goes hand in hand. They want to know that you live and know the same lifestyle of them, that you speak the same language. So I think it's important to always be, you know, put together and look the part as well. So when I first started, like I said, I did do rentals and then I did regular sales. I joined a team, I had a mentor, and I had someone there to guide me to help me learn, you know, how to have those conversations, those type of clientele. So I think that that's also important for you guys. So if you're a newer agent, I want to give you some suggestions.
Hold on, Marcel. I gotta pause you there. Hold on. There's some nuggets in there. First off, we need to give perspective. So this is what I started thinking. I was like, well, Marcel, I gotta, like, you're saying all this, but some maybe people are getting on this call and they don't even follow you on social media. So I'm gonna plug your social media so you get some more follows. But this is like in the movies. Hold on, guys. Let's see a little bit of what we're talking about. Here's Marcel. Here's her page, right? Let's watch the video, guys. This is like a movie, all right? The audience, get your popcorn.
I'll show you which video is good.
This one or no?
No, I like that one's good too. But
Yeah,
scroll
but
down.
I love this one.
No. Scroll down, the one in the red dress.
Okay.
That one is a good one.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. Oh, it's not playing. I don't know why. Let me see. Let me just put that one and then, but you got 2 $4 million listings here, right?
Yeah, I have and another 1.5 there.
In the same building?
Right.
Okay, hold on. Let's see this.
So that's one of the brokers open that I did for this listing.
Love it.
Love it. All right. So on that, tell us again, you could probably jump back, but I just wanted to give a little perspective on yourself. How did you go with the style? What do you do with your listings? Like, what made you mold it this way, kind of thing? So I know people will ask.
Okay, so we go into social media. I post not only luxury real estate, I post luxury lifestyle. So if there's a new restaurant and I went to the grand opening, I'm posting about that. If there's a new art gallery, I'm posting about that. I'm usually at all these social events. I'm at Art Basel or Formula One, or, things that people are like, wow, she's at all these luxury events where I'm there too. And that's who I'm rubbing shoulders with. That's who I'm making conversations with, but I'm putting it on my Instagram for sure. On my stories every single day, you're going to see new posts. And then on my actual page, and I'm doing reels. And when I do get these, when I get my listings, I leverage it and use it for social media. I create content. I have my drone guy. I have, my video guy. I have my events girl. I have them all on speed dial. And I go all out with it, but it also helps me create more content for my Instagram.
Hold on, we got a question. Gigi has a question.
Hey, Marcel, thank you for doing this. What is the purpose of a broker's open? What does it do? How do you do it?
So Brokers Open is intended for agents and brokers, right? Like this last one that I did, I did an invite only because it was in a luxury condo building. I didn't want hundreds of people there, even though more people is more exposure. But for this particular type of listing, I wanted quality agents that have this kind of clientele in that particular area. So I invited agents that had done sales in the last 6 months in that area. That is like more or less the price point that I'm at, because maybe they had listings that they had other buyers that didn't work out, and then they can showcase my listing. So it's inviting other agents. They're going to be posting from there, especially when you make it nice and you go all out. they're going to be posting. So you're going to get exposure, and then somebody in their social media could possibly see it and they can help bring you a buyer. So it's different than an open house. I can touch base on an open house because I also do open houses, especially for single family homes. And you definitely want to leverage the most you can when you have a listing and getting exposure. So an open house is more to the public, where a broker's open is to agents and brokers in the area.
Makes sense. And do you really need the nice car, the watch, the handbag to serve a luxury client?
You know, yes and no. In the beginning, I didn't have the nice car, the nice watch and all that, but I still did look well put together. You know, I still dressed nice. I still showed up. I still was confident. I still had my hair and nails, high heels on. And yeah, I did portray that look. And then as I went going, yeah, I go to the best restaurants that I go to. I do drive something nice, but it's part of that luxury look and that luxury language.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
I have a question.
All right, go ahead.
How hard is to deal with those type of client in terms of when they buying about $1 million, $1.5 million? Can you explain to us in terms of how do you talk to them?
Absolutely. So it's going to be a little bit different. No matter what type of real estate you're doing, you want to be knowledgeable, and you want to provide value. They may be a little bit more knowledgeable than your average buyer. They're usually smart with their money. They're going to ask you the harder questions. You should know about your taxes, and you should be able to provide them with more value. They are a little bit more demanding because they have less time, to not bullshit, right? So, which is good, but you have to be a little bit more available, a little bit more catering. There's times that I'm pretty much a concierge. I'm giving them referrals on where to go, what to do, and everything. But I do base my business more on service. I'm not a salesperson. I build those relationships. They become friendships. So I put a lot more time into my clients. I'm not, for me, it's not a numbers, it's not quantity, it's quality. So I'm there for them, and I'm helping them get their questions answered and fast.
Great question. And Marcial, one of the things I get a lot over the years is that was a great question, Gigi. Being that, like when you talked about restaurants, I've had like some luxury agents say, hey, I go to these restaurants just so I can meet the people, the higher net worth individuals. What's your strategy there? Let's just say, hey, you're going to go maybe outside of a network event. When you go to a restaurant, you eat. What would you do? Like I've seen Leslie go into a restaurant and like start communicating. Leslie will talk to a chair, right? But she's like volume raised, like she's like everybody, hey, we all know.
We go together all the time.
Oh, so how do you conduct yourself? For sure, being a woman, I'm sure you got to deal with people hitting on you. What would you advise to maybe the women and the men as well on the call? What would you advise how to be successful? What to avoid, the pitfalls, and like give us a little bit of that, would you say?
So one of my do's on the list is to get out of the office and go to these nice restaurants. Maybe you don't have to break the bank, but maybe go during happy hour. I like to sit somewhere where it's welcoming to conversation. Sometimes I'll sit like by the bar area, I'll take out my iPad, I'll start working, and I'll strike up a conversation with the person either on something maybe they're ordering. It's never just, hey, do you want to sell your house? It's not salesy ever. It's, hey, what do you think about the crab cakes I'm going to order? I saw you got them, and starting conversation, them seeing you on your computer. And people just like to ask, hey, what do you do? And it goes into that conversation, but it's always more relationship. Like it doesn't start with real estate, leads into it. And then I'm very passionate and serious about my business. It's not in a flirty style. It's more in a, this is the business that I run. This is what I do. This is how long I've been doing it. And I provide value. And if they're serious, and you trade contacts and you continue to keep that relationship. I know with the women, you don't want to trade contacts and seem like if they're, hitting on you or something, but you learn to kind of weed that out. And if you're confident enough and secure with yourself and your business, you can learn how to kind of weed out the fake ones, right?
Yeah. And that's actually cool. Like I was thinking about it, you know, with the luxury real estate, yeah, bigger reward, bigger investment, right? Like, you know, you could stay, like a lot of people, and I can tell you, I wouldn't even want to say hundreds, but maybe 50 plus people have told me, hey, I've been in Starbucks, just having my coffee, bring out my laptop and I'm working. I was like, instead of working from home, or like I'm tired of the office and I don't want to go home yet, but I want to still be able to prospect, I go to Starbucks. Some people have a sticker. Again, you don't have to have a sticker when you're working the luxury, but I need to reprint these stickers, remind myself. It's like, ask me about real estate and coffee's on me. I used to print these stickers for our laptop, so I'll do that again. Let me know in the chat if you guys want that. But yeah, I think that's a great strategy. Just work on your business while you have a little light appetizer, maybe not a few wines, not too many wines, maybe one glass of white wine, because that's what Marcel drinks, white wine, not red wine, but you know, but okay, so that's good. What
But
would you say?
absolutely, every single morning, I live on Las Olas, which I can just walk over to a coffee shop. So every morning when I do my cardio, I walk over to the same coffee shop. You know, I know the people there. I have my usual table. And if I have a morning meeting, I do it there. I do make those relationships with like managers or bartenders or the same kind of restaurants that I know are going to treat me well, so that when I walk in with a client, they give me that luxury service, right? They know me by first name, they sit me at my regular table, and it looks good when you're bringing over clients. But every single morning I do walk over to a coffee shop and I strike up conversation, and I'm there working for a bit and while I get my morning going.
All right, you have a question from Esther. What's up, Esther? Congrats on your close. How did you get your first $1 million plus listing? And how was that experience?
Okay, so my first $1 million listing, and I've said this story a few times if you've ever taken any training that I've done, because it was like one of my biggest breakthroughs. I had a opportunity with really a girl from the salon that I've known for a few years, but I always talk about my business. That's just what I do, you know, 80% of my life, right? So finally she was gonna sell her house, and little did I know she had $1 million+ home in Miami Shores. So she gave me the opportunity to get that listing, and it was my first $1 million listing, and I went all out with it. I did the signs, I did the open house every single weekend, I did the drone shots, the professional pictures, the videos, the postcard for just listed, the postcard for under contract, the postcard for just sold. It was to the point that I didn't want it to sell just yet, because I wanted to continue to leverage it and get more leads from it. My open houses were full because I don't do door knocking, but I do if I have something to offer. And what I had to offer was to invite them to my, you know, my nice open house that weekend. So from that first $1 million listing, from doing everything that really we're supposed to do, I got 6 deals out of that, and they were all $1 million+. So I had a neighbor 2 blocks down. I sold her house. I got both sides. I sold the neighbor in front of my house for $850, but then I sold his mom's house for $1.75. And then from posting and social media and live broadcasting, I had a friend see all these homes in Miami Shores that I was selling, and she also bought another house from me. So I did 6 deals from that one first $1 million deal, and that was my breakthrough. And after that, you know, it became easier, right, to get that kind of listing, because I had all this exposure from all of these sales. And that came from somebody at the salon who was doing my eyelashes.
All right, we got another. Dario, ask your question. I see your hand up. Anybody raise your hands on Zoom or just ask in the chat. What's up, D?
Everybody, good morning. So Marcia, if you could just walk us through a little bit about your mindset and how your day looks, because in the beginning I would always see a lot of luxury agents, and I'm like, man, how do you find that balance of being a master networker and at the same time be able to, because I've seen you, man, you've been so damn consistent every single day, same exact activities. You work really, really hard, but you know how to have that balance and know how to network and be present in such a cool crowd that gives you all this business. But a little bit about the mindset, because I see other realtors in other offices doing a lot of these things, and maybe it'll give them a little bit of hope that it doesn't come overnight. It does take time. And what is kind of like your mindset behind that?
Okay, so in the mornings, I do take that time for myself. I either work out or go do cardio. I go have my coffee in the nearby coffee place here. And I take in the morning, I do a little bit of, I sit in my balcony, do a little bit of just kind of calmness, right? And be grateful for everything. And then I start my work day. I'm not so great at time blocking, But, you know, I do definitely make sure that I'm working every single day. My calendar is a big key. I live by the calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it's probably not happening. And that goes to that, as far as even social events, as far as getting together with friends, everything goes on my calendar. So I know what that week looks like. But I do try to keep a good balance between office events, you know, strategic networking, right? So even if I'm out having a wine or something, I'm always still working. I'm always making relationships and strategic networking.
Okay. What would you say, Marcial? And great question, D. What would you say, Marcial? You right now, you're going back to 2015. All right. I just got your time machine. We flew back. We're back. And you see Marcial of 2015. What do you tell her at the beginning so she doesn't repeat the mistakes that you already know she's going to be doing? What are the best, what's the best advice you would give yourself if you flew back 5, 6, 7 years back?
5, 6, 7 years. Okay, so I have about 7 years now in real estate. I took a lot of time being scared to jump into it. I took a lot of trainings, which is great to be knowledgeable, but I feel like being hands-on will teach you more. And then I took the first year without having a mentor. And I think that that's really important, to have somebody to mentor you, to co-list with you, somebody that's already doing the type of real estate that you want to do, then shadowing them, offering them to do their showings, to do their open houses or something like that. I should have done that sooner on and gotten into it sooner on and not been so scared to get into it. It took me that first year kind of nervous, taking so many trainings, doing rentals, because I didn't have a mentor to help me.
All right. And what would you say for people that are currently doing or trying to do luxury real estate? Was there anything that helped you aside from, like, you know, getting out there and getting your feet wet, which is probably the best experience? What would you say? What would you advise them? I know there's like, usually there was a for a while. I don't know if you ever did it. I should have. You know what I gotta do? I gotta do like Dana talk. I just like to ask those questions that pop up, but I should ask you this. But I know there was for a while. You remember, like in 2017, 2018, 2019, I used to see that luxury classes association was like these people that would go around. Did you ever do any classes for luxury real estate? Is there any books for it? What would you suggest?
You know, I did do some classes, and I do have some with NAR and stuff. I'm now even getting more involved, like, you know, with the Women's Council and with the board and all of that. But yeah, I mean, again, finding a mentor, somebody that can walk you through and hold your hand, and going to listing appointments with them and seeing how they interact with that kind of clientele, to me is even more important than any training.
All right, somewhat. Well, Esther has been working her butt off, so I got to give her on that networking like crazy.
Yeah.
She's saying,
Yes.
where could someone find a mentor in luxury real estate, and who is willing to mentor? I don't know. I think I'm looking at one right now. I think Marcial, honestly, we should have like
I would be open to it for sure. It would have to be, and I see Esther putting in the work. It would have to be somebody that's full-time and that is willing to, you know, work hard and be consistent and show up. So yeah, Esther, message me afterwards and we'll see how we can work something out together.
Accountability. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Full-time or no part-timers. And if you're part-time, grind with your residential, the 400, 500, 600, build that pipeline, put some money to the side and jump in head on. That's always a goal, the dream. I know a lot of part-timers talk. Actually, I want to go back to something else that I wrote a note here. All right. I know, like, you've been great with it. So I know, like, how do you get luxury leads? And I know sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Like, talk to us about luxury leads. I know it's a lot more expensive to go to expensive neighborhoods. What would you be your advice to? Anybody, I would say, before I say this, if you're not really good with leads, don't go pay for luxury. You go for like 400.
I agree. I really didn't start paying for leads until probably like my second year or so, until I became more confident in knowing the process of purchasing and in knowing the luxury real estate. I do buy leads. Most of my business right now is based on past clients and referrals, but I still do buy leads. I buy realtor.com leads, and I buy them in very specific areas and zip codes that I know. I know the schools there, I know the parks there, I know the hospitals there, I know the best restaurants there, I know the best spas, and I only buy in that zip code. So when a lead comes in, I can provide value. I know if there's fixed bridges, I know, anything that they can call me for that zip code, I'm gonna know it in and out for sure. And I'm gonna suggest, places for them to go and things for them to do. So I'm building that relationship with those leads. Actually, the $4 million listing that I have was a lead from Realtor that we've just continued to stay friends. They bought that condo with me and now they're selling that condo with me. And it was somebody I met through realtor.com.
Was that the crypto guy?
Yeah.
Oh,
And I did the
damn.
whole crypto event with them. They invited me to the crypto event, the whole entire week, VIP passes, all that. And I met a bunch of people through them. So, and that was through Realtor, but I also provided them value when they called me. And we initially spoke. I had everything from A to Z that they needed to know about Sunny Isles. So I was like their guide, even till now, they still ask me for referrals or suggestions or where to go and what to do.
This season is
I have a question. So besides the putting it on the MLS, the professional pictures, the drone, the brokers open, the open house, is there anything you do out of the box for the marketing? Like, do you find success in maybe creating a property website, or do you do Google ads, Facebook ads? Do you publish the listing on like Wall Street Journal, or do you do any of that? Or maybe
I do. I get as creative as possible with the listing. And again, that's helping build your personal brand as well as by finding a buyer for your listing. You're also building your brand. So depending on what area it is, I do it all, from everything you just mentioned to just getting creative. One of my listings now has a huge terrace, which has a beautiful sunset. And I'm like, what if we get a yogi instructor here and we do a yoga session and everybody's posting from here and we get more exposure? I just like, it depends on the listing, on the area, but I do get creative with it.
Marcial, I had a question. This is Manny. Would you say that a good way to get into luxury that I've actually been dabbling in with my team would be to start working high-end rentals and get in through there and get them on the year? When the year is up, get them on the sale, because a lot of them are trying to fill out the neighborhoods. I noticed that.
Yeah, I do high-end rentals all the time. And it's true, sometimes they don't want to commit to a certain area because they're coming from elsewhere and they don't know the area yet. And I keep that relationship with them throughout the year. I put them on a CRM to continue to touch base with them. I check back in with them. I have those conversations because normally if they're renting a place for, $8,000, $10,000, $15,000, then they usually have pretty good financials and income. So I have that conversation. Okay, fine. I understand you don't want to buy right now, but next time that we're looking for a place, it should be for a purchase. And then I stay in contact with them on that 6-month period, on that right before the 3-4 months before, and I start prepping them to go into a purchase. So yeah, it's definitely a good way to get your foot in the door with the high-end rentals.
Awesome. And something else that I wanted to know, what's a good time frame that you're really busting your ass and like learning and being out there in the field as a new agent? How long do you think it'll take somebody with enough consistency to actually start seeing like the fruits of their labor,
I mean, it really depends on the person. I have 7 years in and I'm still learning new things. I think you have to continue to build your business and learn, but it just depends on how consistent you're being with it and how many people you're exposed to and know and stay in contact with. But yeah, your first year is going to be a little bit tougher and there is exceptions to the rules, but I'd say at least about a good year of staying consistent and top of mind in front of, with your social media and all of that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Marcel, another question. Oh, I got Sergio has a question. Sergio, go ahead.
Hey, Marcel, thank you so much for sharing your information. Question for you. At this higher price point, how long have you been seeing these listings sit on the market for? What's a rough estimate you would say that they would stay on the market for?
It depends on the property. If it's a single family and you're pricing it right and it's in a great neighborhood, it shouldn't sit that long. It does, you know, it's not gonna sell maybe as fast as you're not gonna have an open house of 100 people on a $500,000 home, but if you're pricing it right and you're giving it all the exposure, the luxury market is doing really great. We live in a really beautiful city that people are still moving to from other states and other countries. So I think as long as you give it the exposure that it needs and price it right and stage it right and have it completely prepared for turnkey property, then you shouldn't have too much trouble selling it. Now, if we're talking condos, it's going to take a little bit longer. And you know, not every day are you going to have a buyer that's looking for $10 million condo. So that is going to take maybe a bit longer, a couple months longer.
Great question, Matthew. I actually have let me get the question before I ask mine. How do you spend ballpark? Rebecca Del asks, how much do you spend ballpark marketing on a listing?
I think, you know, it depends on the listing again, but rule of thumb, it's probably like 10%. Like if I'm making 6 figures, I'm gonna make 100 grand. I'll spend $10,000 at least on the listing. And that includes, you know, the pictures, the signs, the brokers open. I buy listings. If I have a listing in a certain area, I'll buy leads for that area too. So that way I can, you know, direct them towards my listing, and hopefully bring the buyer in as well. So I'd say probably like a good 10% of my commission.
Yeah, I agree with that. Mauricio goes, what is the trend you see as a motivation for luxury sellers in today's market? What's the trend?
For sellers.
Yeah, Mauricio, if you want to ask that question, it kind of confused me the way you typed that. If he's still there.
Hey, I'm here.
All right, what was your question?
The question is that everybody usually has a motivation, maybe upgrade, downgrade, relocate, but there's always kind of like a trend. So maybe you have a group of clients that you've worked with recently and you say, oh, I noticed this kind of trend. Is there like a certain trend right now for sellers, or maybe is there a time frame that they usually sit on a property before they sell? Like, let's say 5 to 7 years, right? Is a primary kind of average before someone sells and relocates. So is there like a trend that you've seen lately?
You know, I guess that the sellers in this type of property, they're very knowledgeable with money and how to handle it and how to basically, if they are sitting in a property that they bought years ago and there's equity in it and the prices have gone up, you know, considerably, they are open to sell because they are about, you know, leveraging their money. So just kind of being able to give them that information helps. Like whenever I close a high-end luxury listing, that's the only time I really do some cold calling, and that's just to let the neighbors know, hey, you've owned this property for 10 years. I just want you to know I just sold your neighbor's house for 5 million, whatever. You bought it for 1 million. Like, you know, and you're not living in it, or it's your second home. Have you thought about that? So yeah, they're open to selling, especially if there's money to be made.
Okay.
Good question. Question I had, what, like, you know, we're getting in there, so I'll say let's wrap this up in 10, so keep it under that hour. What are some of the etiquette, right? When you're dealing with higher net worth individuals, like, you know, don't ask about, like, I know, like a lot, this is a great question, actually. I got to applaud myself here. When people are like, hey, when you're dealing with your luxury buyer, what do you ask for? Proof of funds, proof of assets? What's the procedure when you're working with higher net worth individuals?
I don't normally ask for the financials right away. I do work on building the relationship more, and I do motivate them by showing them, you know, a property that they'd want to purchase. And then once we get to that point, then I'll ask for proof of funds, or if they're going to be leveraging their money and having a lender, and if they have one. But I do it after I've already shown them a property and established that relationship between us. They're not going to be as open to sending you that right away, especially if it's like a lead from Realtor. and you can kind of feel them out when you're having those conversations. It's not, I'm not like, hey, let me see it right now. I'm more like, oh, you know, what kind of business you do? What, you know, what's your reason for relocation? What kind of hobbies? I always want to know if maybe they're into boating or something like that. And it kind of lets me know their type of lifestyle. And then I establish relations. And then I ask, once we're going to go into putting in an offer and all that, I'll ask for financials.
All right, that's a good question. Somebody asked, when it comes to crypto, how much do you tell if it's a scam or if the person is legit? How do you verify that? If they say cryptos, being that you know, you have a big client with crypto and you've gone to these conferences, what would your advice be?
Yeah, crypto is going to be a little trickier. You're not going to have your traditional bank statements. It's going to be more like a screenshot. So you could, I'm not saying that you can't get scammed. I don't know what the purpose of it would be, but when I asked for financials for my crypto buyer, it was different crypto screenshots of their accounts. And we were able to put in an offer, and he actually got a loan with a hard money lender and was able to prove he was able to transfer crypto to a traditional bank account and then show us real bank statements.
All right. And Daryl, we'll do two more questions. So Daryl, go ahead.
Marcial, is there a specific percentage or maybe a more or less that you would be able to draw the lines? There's like the majority are investors, the majority are like actual consumers. They want to purchase to live in the property. Because for me, I just want to see if you have any tips and tricks for investors, what kind of presentation or conversation do you have with them?
For the luxury, it's a lot of times end users that just have a want, to be in a certain area or to be by the water, or to have their boat or to have their kids in the best schools. It's not as much as the investors, unless we're doing now high-end luxury. I have this one client that does, let's say, like high-end short-term rentals, and they do look for that kind of property with the return. So you have to make sure to be able to show them the numbers on the return, and that it makes sense. Just like any other real estate, when you are doing it for investors, the numbers have to make sense.
All right. Any more questions for Marcial? All right. Marcial, give us some words.
George, I got one.
All right,
I got one, George. What's the average commission that you're asking for on these listings at a presentation? Because that could be a rookie mistake. 6 could be too much. Is it 4 or 5?
It depends on the market. And in the beginning, when I really got into it and really got confident, I was like, I don't take anything less than 6. That's it. Now it's it's a little different. There is a lot of competition and all that. So depending on the price point, I will negotiate my commission. If I'm getting both sides, I definitely do a dual rate and do a lesser commission. So instead of doing 5 or 6%, I'll take 4 if I'm doing both sides. We are talking a lot of money. There's times that 3% is still over $100,000. So I do negotiate the commission with them, just to get the business. With these are way higher end commissions. On $1 million, 3%, you're making $30,000. So if every million, there's a lot of money to be made. So yeah, I do negotiate. My average right now is probably 5% total.
Great question. All right, Marcial, super grateful. Super grateful.
If you want to close off with the do's and don'ts, I just wrote a really quick list.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know you would add that.
I'm prepared. You have to be prepared.
Hey, somebody ate
All right.
plátanos this morning.
So your do's: do stay relevant and knowledgeable. Do have real estate sales experience. Know your sales process from start to finish. Do consider co-listing, whether it's a listing that you brought in, so that you can leverage from another agent that has that experience and they can bring value. And then you can use their track record as leverage. Do offer to help veteran agents and luxury agents on their showings, open houses, etc. To leverage those open houses, be prepared, have your own signs already ready to go, make it look nice. Don't bring the MLS flyer, bring an actual canvas. It's really easy to use. Create a flyer or brochure, make it a little nicer. Do stay consistent and top of mind through your social media on a daily basis. Do look the part, from how put together you are to the way that you dress. It's your personal branding. Do be confident, stand up straight, speak clearly, do spend money on marketing videos, drones, signs, events, brochures, open houses, etc. Do take up an expensive hobby. Make relationships through the luxury language. That means golf, tennis, yoga, even high-end spas. I go to spa at least once every other week and I make relationships there. I do go to a restaurant at least twice a week. I do yoga classes, do take up an expensive hobby. Do make relationships with local restaurant managers, bartenders, hosts, and make sure that you're going to the local restaurants, bars, social clubs, private clubs, cigar bars. Do attend events such as Food and Wine, Art Basel, Crypto Week, Polo events, and do make those conversations there personable, relationship, not salesy. Do market a luxury lifestyle, not just luxury real estate. So if there's a golf course next to your listing, make sure that you advertise that as well, know about the memberships and all of that. Do trade business with other businesses such as attorneys, divorce attorneys, probate attorneys, settlement cases attorneys for malpractice, personal injury, and large settlement cases. Those are your best friends. To make those relationships, offer to promote their business. Do get creative and stand out, and to have a service mindset. And then do establish agent relationships. That's really important, and to get out of the office. And lastly, do be confident. I don't have a lot of don'ts because I don't like to focus on the negative, only on the positive, but I did do a couple. Don't wing it. Don't look sluggish. Don't tarnish your image. Make sure that your social media is portraying that luxury lifestyle and agent, and that you're showing that you're putting in the work. Don't post religious, political, or controversial stuff. You don't want to piss anybody off. Stay away from that. Don't give false or misleading info. Don't half-ass it, and don't be intimidated. So that's it. If anyone has any questions, those are my do's and don'ts.
Love it, Marcial. Everybody being super grateful, thankful. I'm grateful, thankful. Have a beautiful day. Thank you, Marcial, for everything you've done, do, and let everybody know today.
Thank you, guys.
Have a beautiful day, guys. Let's crush it.
Thank you, Marcial.
Make them calls.
Thank you, Marcy. Thank you, sister. We love you. See you at Baja Mar.
Marcio.
Bye, guys.